Bang, 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 bang. How do you know? I've been drinking.
Primarily Critical.
3, 2, 1, go. Hello, everyone, and welcome to Primarily Critical of Movie Down After Party. This will be it.
If you have not seen this film, we suggest that you do so before watching or listening any further.
Because we've got spoilers, opinions, and trivia like crazy. Wait. Spoilers, trivia, and opinions like crazy. And we can't wait to share them.
Good, bad, old, weird, or gross.
We will pass judgment on them all.
Today, we get the deep dive on the Hollywood politics that nobody ever asked for. My name is Steve.
Exactly.
I'm here with
Phil.
and
Hi.
John.
Today we're covering Mank.
Mank.
Yeah.
Which is short for Mankiewicz. We got a Z on the end there that out of nowhere. Phil, you picked this.
I did.
Please take us on a journey of your thought process.
Well, I heard there was a lot of buzz about this movie. It got a lot of Golden Globe and Oscar buzz, and it came direct to Netflix after a limited run, I guess, in theaters. So I'm a fan of David Fincher. I don't know if you guys are familiar with his work. He did Seven, I believe, and he did Social Network. And Gary Oldman is a great actor. And the music by
Gary Oldman.
Yeah, and the music is intriguing because it's by Trent Reznor, Atticus Ross from Nine Inch Nails. There's a few factors that made me think, what's going on with this movie? So, yeah, let's talk about it.
Okay, sure. First question I have for you guys. Jack Fincher did the screenplay. Do you know the relation between David and Jack?
His father.
Yeah, Jack's dad.
And as I understand it, this movie they wanted to make this movie a decade or so ago. It didn't happen with a different cast. So that's interesting. So this has been, I think for David Fincher, this was probably a passion project, honoring his dad, fulfilling, something. Maybe I'm wrong.
So, does anyone know Jack Fincher's history with Hollywood? Like,
No,
neither do I.
I'm afraid I came into this pretty blind.
I did too. But Steve, go ahead.
I hesitate to say anything, but I was really bored watching this movie. I was really bored, and oh man,
John,
I was bored too. I must admit. Now, here's the thing, though, is there's lots to like about this movie, and one of the things is that I really regret is that I have not seen Citizen Kane for 20 years. Okay, I saw it like 20 years ago, or even more. It could have been more like 30 years ago now, you know? So it was really unfortunate because I realized that that's what this is kind of at the climactic moment is really, it ties into Citizen Kane. And really that's kind of the making of Citizen Kane is what this movie's about, right?
Yeah, that was my main contempt about this movie. If you have not seen Citizen Kane, it's the linchpin of everything this movie's about, and it really does not, I don't think you have a full gravity of, I watched Citizen Kane like 20 years ago, the same boat you're talking about. It's not fresh in the memory, but Citizen Kane is regarded as one of the best movies ever made. Steve, John, thoughts?
Well, yeah, I mean, certainly you have to take the era into account.
1941 or 1942? 42?
Yeah, so I mean, certainly I think for the the time, it was amazing. It showed it changed the canon of Hollywood. Is why this was such a pivotal movie. It showed that you can, it takes on some subject matter that typically Hollywood would never have touched.
The Hollywood machine was set up to deliver certain things. This movie
they
was
had a Hollywood canon developed that was putting out certain types of movies, and this rocked the world. It rocked that world. It changed the concept of filmmaking, that you can do something, the subject matter that's much more in depth and controversial and all that stuff. And so it was an important movie as far as being standing today one of the best movies of all time. No, I mean it just simply isn't.
It's always going to be debatable. That's debatable.
Yeah.
I mean, who wins that?
There's a historical context with it, that's important. But
we've gone. I know I've gone to lists of greatest movies of all time. I've made movie picks for this movie club based on those lists. We watched Lawrence of Arabia. We've watched 12 Angry Men, and I made sure to we've even watched Whatever Happened to Baby Jane, and that's on a few lists as one of the greatest.
43?
Movie, no, that's not 43. No, that's awful movie.
Classics.
But I've never seen Citizen Kane. I've never seen it. And so this movie, it was just, well, it was like right over my head.
Yeah,
exactly. How many people are gonna know? There's a certain demographic this movie was geared to, but how many people watched that movie, and how many people care about a movie about a movie? It's a tough sell. And I can imagine that, and the people that even remember are probably mostly dead. It's like
a pet peeve of mine. Why would we watch a movie about making a movie?
Okay, Steve. I think you've said that before. I agree. I don't know. This has got to be there's such a narrow window of opportunity for this movie to be a hit, if they even cared. So I don't know what kind of money Netflix.
I'm not sure how it's going to do. I mean, so what I loved about this movie is Gary Oldman. I love he plays, he just goes heart and soul in every role he plays.
100%, right?
Yeah. And so it's just fun to watch him do his craft and get into his character and really just nail it, and so that was fun. But yeah, all in all, it was kind of boring. I mean, I guess the thing I kind of liked, the how he takes down the snootery of Hollywood. That's a payoff for the viewer. I think we watch these rich. There's a depression going on there. And people are
they touch on
suffering.
That. They touch on that. They touch on Nazism and the World War II on the brink. Yeah.
Yeah, and yet these assholes are sitting there at the top of the world, being with their snootery. Yeah, and and really just their self-interest is just disgusting.
Isn't that America?
It's appalling. Yeah,
they're
exactly. So
they didn't care. They didn't want to turn profit. And Orson Welles, who's the director actor behind Citizen Kane, and co-writer of the screenplay, right, of Citizen Kane. He got carte blanche to make this movie. They gave him do what you want. And do you guys know the history of Orson Welles? He came from a stage and background of acting and directing, and he was famous for the radio broadcast of the fake alien invasion.
War of the Worlds.
He narrated that. I think he was involved with the writing or what have you. Don't know the full history. But after that, he was like the Quentin Tarantino of his day. He was given, go ahead, make your movie. And he chose Mank as the screenplay, the writer of the story.
Writer, yeah.
And that I find that very fascinating, the history of Hollywood. they were outsiders. They were like rebels, I think.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, because I mean, MGM. Okay, so we've got the key snootery players here. We've got what was his
MGM?
name? William Randolph Hearst.
Yes,
And then, yeah, you got the MGM guy.
Mayor.
Got it. Yeah. Whatever, the head guy of MGM, I can't find his name right now. But so these are the big two snobs that are going on here. And so, but this Citizen Kane, he ends up writing about, it's based around that William Randolph Hearst, right? That's really, my understanding is, here's my question. Why was William Randolph Hearst so offended by being portrayed as Citizen Kane in the movie? What was so offensive about that?
I have no idea.
I'd have to watch Citizen Kane. I'd have to. You gotta. This is like
Because like this, I don't know if you guys know this, but this led to lawsuits and they tried. We are talking powerful men of Hollywood are trying to stop this movie from being released. Like this actually went on right back in the time when Citizen Kane was trying to come out, and you know, an RKO picked. They're the one that gave the carte blanche, but MGM was trying to stop it. So was this and that William Hearst, their guy, he was a newspaper guy, so he was. You know, he had the media on his side trying to stomp this out. But I don't understand why. I don't see how Citizen Kane in the movie, my recollection, it wasn't that people saw him as like this, like Satanist or horrible guy. I mean, it was, you know, he was a guy that sold his soul kind of to be wealthy and get.
You know, the whole movie storyline was convoluted. Did you guys find it like very? There's flashbacks. There's the present time, and
yeah, I didn't like.
I couldn't make sense of it.
There was a period of time where you could keep the time two times periods separated because he was in bed with a broken leg.
Yes,
and then you could go, we're back here with the broken leg. And then without the broken leg.
And he's visually older, too. He looks older. He's got this...
Then you get to the point where his leg has healed.
Yeah.
And that's where it became really confusing suddenly. You're going, where are we in the timeline here?
Well...
And then I realized you got to be watching those dates. They're actually putting the dates.
Yes.
And really, the year is what you... And I really didn't pay enough attention. So I should have been paying attention to those dates.
I think we off the top think we talked about the movie was boring.
Yes,
a little boring.
It got boring. It got boring when he got into the politics of it. The whole the state election. It just I don't know. I would have liked more of the guts of the writing and the story behind the making of Citizen Kane rather than the. But hey, whatever.
They brought in the politics to show that Mank wasn't like the rest of them.
Sure.
That he was different. You could tell immediately he was a sympathizer with the left-wing agenda there. That was kind of the Democratic agenda, right? And
he didn't want to get involved, and he had to get involved. It was a very convoluted storyline.
Yeah, I agree.
Not very entertaining. How do you make that entertaining? Otherwise, the movie was beautifully shot. It's cool to see a black and white
well acted.
And it looked
beautifully shot, well acted. Just a kind of an irrelevant story for this generation, for this time period, and without having watched Citizen Kane, it's not really going to mean a lot to people.
Well, that's not a knock against the movie. If you're a fan of things like that, you probably would enjoy that movie. I don't see a lot of people gravitating to this movie, but I don't know.
I don't know.
I was.
Ooh, did anyone notice Bill Nye the Science Guy?
Yes, I did. Good point, Steve.
I got it. That was the most That was
He
so
was
interesting.
acting as the Democratic candidate, Sinclair.
Okay. Yeah, he
And-
was the
Okay, yeah.
Democratic nominee.
I thought it was brilliant. That was cool.
He was doing good, yeah. I didn't know he did anything other than Bill Nye, the science guy. I went up and looked at his IMDb, and he's done a few cartoon voices of sciencey type people.
I think he's got a Netflix show where he does his thing about science, which
Oh, that's awesome! Yeah, Bill Nye saves the world. It's
Yes.
really good.
we need more science in this world today. We need more.
He doesn't hold back, man. He swears. He brings the people.
Exactly. I'd
Yeah.
love to hear his take on COVID.
He's got an active TikTok. He talks about COVID in there.
Yeah, that was a cool little thing there. I liked, and the acting was great. Did you guys know Lily Collins, who played Rita Alexander, who was the assistant to Mank when he was in his crippled state, is the daughter of Phil Collins, the musician.
Really? I did
Lily
not
Collins.
know this.
Absolutely. I love
did
that.
not know this.
Wow.
I absolutely love that. I'm a big fan of Phil Collins.
I'm a big fan of Phil Collins too. So that's
Genesis. I love those little things that maybe you wouldn't know, but
great.
cool.
Well, how about that?
And I mean,
She's
cool.
the one that she lost her husband in war,
she didn't know, right?
presumed dead, and then they found him, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And but she throughout the movie, she's like, you're gonna get us fired, and she like, and it is kind of cool where they're enabling his drinking, but they figure out, you know what, give him what he wants, we'll get this goddamn job done, get the screenplay done, and they do, and then like bam, boom, he gets it done. He was like,
It's
Okay.
funny how back in the day, it's like how being an alcoholic was like really went part and parcel of being an artist. It's like these guys, and nowadays that's just not even tolerated. It's like, if any reputable anyone's going to pick up your art, they look, oh, well, he's an alcoholic. Move on to the next person that does similar work that isn't an alcoholic.
Yeah.
Back
they overlook
then, that was
things.
just part and parcel. Yeah, they did.
I don't know. I can't say this. That's like we're talking 70 years ago now, right? Right?
Yes.
80 years ago.
Yeah.
80 years ago. So it's such a time jump. But as I understand it, Citizen Kane was revolutionary in a lot of compartments of sound and cinematography, and it was groundbreaking. And it, like we alluded to earlier, it was like a statement movie, I guess. And it's kind of interesting. It is definitely interesting to get insight into the story behind the people that made it. So,
yeah, but I mean, a movie that's man, we're actually pushing 41. Wait, when did this come out?
the movie,
Or Citizen Kane? Sorry, Citizen Kane, 41. So we're actually pushing 80 years now.
yeah, 80 years.
80 years later, you bring out a movie that was 80 years old. You're right. This is really going to a niche. Demographic.
Niche of a niche.
Yeah.
But it's cool that these movies get made, and Netflix has the
They
ability
needed to do more, though. They needed to do more than, because they got to remember the vast majority of the viewing audience of this movie probably hasn't seen Citizen Kane because it's so old.
Yeah.
And so they needed to do more to make the movie interesting outside of the love of Citizen Kane. And they didn't.
Yeah.
They didn't pull that off here. They didn't know. I mean, they had great acting. They had great shooting. It was beautiful. It was fun, nice on the eyes. And the actors were impeccable. But at the end of the day, this is a story that's not going to really grab people because there's not, it's boring. It's boring. Without context.
I have
it's
no
boring.
memory of Citizen Kane. I have no memory of a conversation about the movie. I have no memory of
Yeah, and we're old. I mean, we're not spring chickens either, right?
Yeah.
You know, and,
Okay. Imagine this in the movies that we are Generation X, right? So imagine, same scenario, Mank, a movie will say talking about Star Wars or E.T. or
Sure.
you know, that's going to be our story. What's the story behind that? Like, that's relevant. This is 80 years old, and exactly, John, who remembers this? I mean,
yeah,
it's a tough sell. But if it's done well, I would say if this movie's on Netflix, well, then you should have Citizen Kane on Netflix so that we can watch both. You know, and make it easy for us.
It is. This should, the title of the movie should be Citizen Kane 2. Or
Wow.
maybe
That's
the
bold.
making of
the prequel. Yeah, making a Citizen Kane.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm after watching this movie, I was more fascinated with knowing more about Orson Welles than Mank. Did you in the movie?
He's the only name I recognize. I know what you mean.
Orson Welles was only like 26 years old when this movie was made. He was like a superstar, or this like superstar. Like when I said Quentin Tarantino was the equivalent. He was the OG, man. He was like
the original.
What's interesting here, though, is this movie. What I got from the movie is that Orson Welles really had nothing to do with the writing of Citizen Kane.
No.
Yet he is listed. He's credited as being a co-writer.
Right.
Right. So in some ways, this movie discredits what history has told us. It discredits Orson Welles from the historical perspective.
Wow. Did you see in the movie? They obviously you watched the movie. They have the acceptance of the Oscar, and so they won best screenplay in that era, and I guess they co-accepted the writing credits, but who really cares if you make a good piece of work? At the end of the day, if you get paid, who cares?
Well, and this is the other thing I understood in watching this movie is that there's people that have been credited with writing movies that did not write the movie at all, because it really. So I guess that's the term ghostwriter, right? But so that was the original plan, if I understand, is that Citizen Kane would have been completely credited to Orson Welles had it gone off as originally planned.
Yeah.
Does that not seem like some weird form of fraud to the public?
Hey, I'm sure it happens all the time, and it's a matter of just you got to fight for your right to be recognized. I don't know.
It all starts with a donut, John.
Yeah, it probably does.
Somebody else buys you a donut, and nobody cares. Nobody cares. Next thing you know, they're writing your script for you.
Yeah, that's right. This writer gave me this. He said I could put my name on it. I did, and nobody cared. Nobody cared.
I think we're mixing movie reviews up now, but
it's true.
Who's paying attention? Should we get into trivia?
What I'm saying is, it starts small, and then you just it escalates.
Sure. Yeah. There was. It started with co-writers, and one co-writer was so fed up with the other co-writer, said, "You know what? Don't even put my name on it." And he's like, "Fine, I won't." And he did that. Like, hey, I only wrote like 25% of this, and then it goes there.
You gotta appreciate when this era of movie making was dominated by men, and it was a whole like how like people with influence push things, agendas, and movies, and it's just like it was. Who knows what how things got done. It was like probably a very sketchy time. They talked about in the movie the Writers Guild, right? So they were just in the infancy of getting unions and so on. It's like the fact that movies got made in a certain that's why I guess that Citizen Kane was a revolutionary movie. It was against the trends of the day, right? So
yeah, who knows? I really didn't want to know that much about Hollywood. I had a hard time with this movie, Phil. I'm so sorry to say that.
I don't disagree. It was kind of a boring movie, other than the look of the movie and the acting. It just, if you didn't care about Citizen Kane, you probably would never watch this movie. So I don't know who's watching this movie.
Well, Citizen Kane might be a future pick.
Okay.
For primarily critical, and then if we do that, then I might have a brand new appreciation for this movie. Who knows?
We can reference Mank if we do that.
Yeah.
If we watch Citizen Kane, then we can talk about Mank in that podcast.
Awesome.
Yeah, exactly.
Brilliant. Yeah. I smell a review coming on.
And we can rename Citizen Kane Mank 2. I'm sure everyone would appreciate that.
Yeah. Can you imagine doing a sequel to this?
Oh, yeah. The 11 years before Mank's death. Let's do the trivia. All right. Trivia point number 1. Gary Oldman wanted to wear elaborate prosthetic makeup to closely resemble the historical Herman J. Mankiewicz, but was persuaded otherwise by David Fincher, who wanted minimal makeup for capturing a more intimate performance. I could see that. I could see that because nobody watching the movie would remember what Herman looked like,
That's right. Yeah, and Gary Oldman's he's just still great at those facial expressions, and you don't want to interfere with that,
Okay, I did some research. How old do you think he was when he was in the flashback? Well, we know. How old do you think he was in the movie?
Who?
He's in his 40s, I think, Brad.
Okay, they kept flashing back to 1934, and they moved to like 1937, but the present time was like 1941.
Yeah.
But here's he died at 55.
Yeah.
So,
in what year?
Yeah, that's the question. I think basically he was, a relatively young guy, and he
so you're saying Gary Oldman, who's pretty damn old, but
he looked older.
He was playing a younger guy.
Yeah,
it should have been.
It did not.
Gary Oldman was too old to be playing the part for that time.
Well,
is what you're saying?
Here's the thing. He's an alcoholic, right? And he wore himself. He looked older than he probably was, but I felt like he looked older than what he was depicted as. But
I have no idea whether he married young or.
I've never seen a picture of Herman Mankiewicz, so I can't comment.
And I don't know what the age of Gary Oldman is, but I think he would be in his 60s or so. I don't know why that matters.
I think early 60s.
I don't know. I felt like, he looked old. Yeah.
Who's got this next piece of trivia?
Yeah, sure, I'll take it. Shot on Red's helium monochrome 8K cameras. No color version of this film exists.
Somebody's going to cover it.
That's pretty cool. It's like, I liked about this movie is the commitment to the look, the sound, the vibe of 1930s, 1940. If you could take this movie and show it to the people back in that era, do you think they would even notice? It was very authentic.
I don't know.
It really was. Yeah, I love the filming of it. I thought it looked beautiful.
I thought it was beautiful, authentic, and it felt like you'd step back in time, which was very cool.
Just so you know, Gary Oldman is 63. So, yeah.
Oh, nice.
For most of December 2019, the film was shot at the Kemper Campbell Ranch in Victorville, California, where Herman J. Mankiewicz wrote Citizen Kane in 1941. Considering the ranch changed very little over the years, the location helped reflect the time period of the late 1930s.
Oh, how convenient is that?
That is very convenient, yeah.
That's cool.
That's very cool. Very cool.
Maybe it's a historical site. They're not saying that here, but why would they preserve something from the 1930s that has changed very little? Maybe just because of the history of it, you know?
Oh, I see. Now I'm starting to feel like I'm a bad movie critic for not having seen Citizen Kane.
Well, that's how I felt about somewhere in our talks they came about the Big Lebowski, and everyone's like, "You haven't seen no Big?" I'm like, "No," you know. So yeah, we have our faults as movie critics that aren't really critics that don't know what we're talking about.
There's always going to be movies you haven't seen, and you gotta go, oh, but that's the fun of it, right? You haven't seen so and so.
Yeah.
To that point in time in my life, when people say you haven't seen Star Wars, there's people out there that haven't seen Star Wars.
Yeah,
it's a journey, not a destination. I guess.
So,
yes.
Amanda Seyfried.
Holy crap! That's
Seyfried.
Seyfried.
Cold Collider that David Fincher made her shoot one particular scene approximately 200 times for an entire week just to get it perfect. She didn't even have any lines of dialogue.
Come on.
All right.
This is
really?
David Fincher.
Really? Come on, David.
Being as Fincher as possible.
Well, hey, we said beautifully shot. I mean, if there's one thing this movie had going for it, it was that for sure. You know, it was beautifully shot, and the acting, like you said, great acting. So the guy knows how to. He just sadly, I think the material he was, tackling was his shortcoming.
Well, the material he was tackling was his father's screenplay. So, but here's the thing about that is like David Fincher. Are you trying to be Stanley Kubrick? Like that like seems absolutely ludicrous. 200 times to shoot anything. Come on.
That's James Cameron kind of torture stuff going on.
Yeah.
Right.
It's James Cameron, Stanley Kubrick. They're well known as torturers of directors.
Yeah.
So.
Well, it's possible that it was like. See, if I was a director and I was shooting a movie like this and somebody was giving me $25 million to make a movie, I might try to pull something like that early on in production.
No, wait.
Just to make sure everybody knows I'm the boss.
Yeah.
It might be a power move, is what I'm saying.
So it's like the thing is like you as a dad, you got to make a point to like beat the shit out of the oldest son, so that all the other sons will fall in line, right?
Hey, on the flip side of directing, Clint Eastwood is notorious for just taking one shot and move on. So, and you're gonna say Clint Eastwood isn't good? It's all whatever. That seems like a power trip. Or some kind of that's fun trivia, but it's just ridiculous. Anyway.
I really enjoy some of Clint Eastwood's stuff. I really liked Gran Torino.
Yes.
I liked Unforgiven. I don't know if he directed that, but anyway.
I think he did.
I think that was his directorial debut, maybe?
I don't know. I don't know how
I might have that wrong, but I feel like that was like around that time anyway. But.
We need to review more Clint Eastwood.
Yeah.
Clearly.
We need to keep doing this for the rest of our lives. And that's the important thing. Okay, so is that Mank, gentlemen?
Yes.
I think that's Mank, yeah.
Thank you, Mank.
Sorry, ladies and gentlemen.
I'm like this.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, I'm kind of like that too. All in all, I think it's boring, but
if I had to go see this in a theater, I don't know, but we can't see it in the theater currently, so
definitely not a date movie. Don't.
That'll get you nowhere fast.
Yeah.
How about this? My review of the movie is Mank.
Oh snap! Oh wow!
Geez.
Wow! Oh wow! Okay.
Box had too much to drink.
Mank.
Next week, Monday at noon. I don't know what we're gonna do. My other podcasting crew is on hiatus, so we're just gonna play it by ear. We're gonna play it by ear. I got lots of episodes, and we should just keep on going. Have yourselves a great day. That was Mank. We are primarily critical. You are awesome. Like, share, subscribe, all that crap.
All that crap.
All that crap. I cringe to say that. Everybody says that. Like, share, subscribe. Jesus Christ.
Well, we want people to like us.
I know. We want people to like us. We want to get ourselves out there. Oh, we got less than a minute.
Everybody wants to be loved.
All right.
Peace.
Yeah. All right. Bye-bye, folks.
Peace and love.
Bye-bye.